This is a great evening. I mean, I am a watercolor person, nothing like our demo artist here this evening. Michael Killelea?
Killelea.
Okay. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Okay. He's an
Okay.
artist, author, teacher, and traveler. His work and biography have been included in the Smithsonian Institute's library for the American Art Museum, National Portrait Gallery, the Library of Congress, the Watson Research Library at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and those have become the basis for permanent files on him. He has been included in the Birchfield Penny Arts Center database as one of 215 best and past artists in Western New York. He has traveled extensively and painted in plein air almost everywhere he's been. I met him. I was at the Birchfield Nature and Arts Center with the West Seneca Art Society, and I was recruiting artists to go down to the park. There's a beautiful park there. There's 9 acres along Buffalo Creek, and that's where Birchfield painted. I used to work there years ago, and it's just a beautiful place to paint. And we used to get many groups from around Western New York, painters, East Aurora Art Society, Niagara Frontier Watercolor Society. They come down for the day and paint. So we have, in West Seneca, they started a couple of years ago, Birch Fest. And it's a thing to say, okay, let's do stuff, that has to do with Birchfield. Well, I met Michael that one Saturday morning, and he joined us, and that was the very first time that I got to meet him doing his plein air work. His work is also in numerous private collections, has been reproduced on book and magazine covers, posters, prints, and greeting cards, and is featured in 2 books he wrote and illustrated about Long Island's rural North Fork. Make sure you check out his website, okay? We have everything listed on our art site. So if you check out the website, you could read more about his background and see more about his art. And I'd like to say, Michael, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Was that all about me?
That was all about you.
Is that written down someplace? I'm not sure that I recognize it. Okay.
You sent it to me.
I did. Yes. Well, the first thing that I want to say is to beg your indulgence because I have a disease. And my disease is that I need to paint. Those of you who paint understand that. It's got to come out. I have painted, as Paulette said, really all over the world. My wife and I have been very fortunate in that with a family inheritance, we were able to travel to a lot of places. I'll talk about some of these things, but I can't help myself. It just comes out. I need to paint. I need to as often as I can. And so please excuse. So let me tell you a little bit first. My wife will tell you that I could talk to a doorknob. She won't tell you that I could get answers. But I want to talk a little bit about some of these paintings before I start painting. And you can come up and take a look at these as you wish. This is a painting in Thailand. There's a story with every one of these. The Irish have a word for a storyteller. It's called shanachie. My wife accuses me of that all the time. This was in Thailand. I walked down a street. Am I doing something wrong?
No, I'm just going to show off your work.
Oh, okay. Right. So I painted, I walked past a place where there were 3 kids. They have houses on stilts because the water comes up and down in the river. And the river was close. And I was trying to get to the river to see what was there. And the lady said, go down here. She didn't, I don't speak Thai or Vietnamese, whatever it was at that time. And, but I'm pretty good with pantomime. So she sort of told me how to go to get to there. And that was at the river. And I thought, wow, what a neat place. So I painted that, and I liked the way that came out. But I painted lots of other things there. I was in the Navy. I'm most pleased with this because this painting was in an exhibition last year at the VA, the Veterans Administration. And they have an annual competition where you can, depends on what you do, if you write poetry, or you write music, or you paint in watercolors or art, or you carve, or all kinds of things. Anyway, this was in the watercolor exhibition, and it won a prize last year, which is attached to it. I don't know what it means, but it did win that prize. And they said to me, well, that's really nice. And I said, too. I had a friend who I also submitted his work, and that I think I won another prize. In any event, they said to me, next year, we'll submit it to the national veterans competition. Well, I have to tell you, I'm really pleased with this. It won second place nationally in the watercolor.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. But I'll tell you the story because you just don't know what this is. I lived on an aircraft carrier, and we were coming back from the Mediterranean, a 9-month cruise, coming across the North Atlantic, which is not particularly comfortable in the springtime. It can be quite rough. The Russians play a little game with us. We play the same game. They say, we'll find you wherever you are in the ocean. But we say, we'll get to you before you come near us. They have to go past Norway in his radar and stuff. And so the Norwegians tell us, there's another one coming, a bear, a Russian bomber. So the bear comes along and flies over our ship with this is a Phantom, an F-4 Phantom. The Phantoms were under its wing, so they knew nobody's going to do anything. It's kind of a show for them and a show for us. But the Phantom, the first one came back and landed fine. The second one, because the ship was heaving and doing a lot of this stuff, Phantom hit the deck. It had gas tanks under the wing. The gas tanks exploded and caught on fire. And so that's what this is. The plane crashed. It burned. The cockpits you can see are open. The two crew got out, okay, and the plane was taken back to Norfolk, which was our home port. So they like that pretty much. I think I'm pleased with that. Some of these, I said before, this is in Ireland, in Waterford. They sell crystal there, in case nobody knows. But this is a tower. This is the Reginald's Tower in Waterford, which is quite old. I sat across the street and painted that. Oh, you're going to walk around. This is Avignon. I wish I could. There's a song that kids learn in grammar school about I'm not going to remember the song, and I wouldn't sing it anyway. But if anybody knows that song, let me know. No, I'm not going to try. Anyway, this is a pretty impressive place. There were a couple of popes that lived there at the same time. It was not the particularly nicest piece of time in the Catholic Church, but it's an interesting place. This is in Thailand. No, Thailand, no, I didn't write it. I thought this was pretty interesting because we were on a tour, and the tour went to this place where they were showing us how they used water buffaloes to plow for rice. They don't use it anymore because it's too expensive. It's much easier with a machine that churns up the ground. But I thought it was interesting because I painted the guy, or at least started the painting. I finished it at home. I painted the guy, and after a while, I realized that all the locals who were working there were ignoring the tourists and came to look over my shoulder. I thought that was kind of funny. I paint every place. I have cabinets full of paintings. This is 4 doors away from me. It's in Elma. It's what's called the prison house. There was in the early 1800s a group of very conservative Germans who moved here for, I guess, religious freedom, called the Ebenezers. If you heard that word or seen it anywhere in this general area, they set up 6 different little villages. And so the deal was with them, it was like very conservative, maybe like Hasidim or some religious groups which are very conservative. The men stay here, the women stay there. You don't mix. However, there was just one couple that didn't follow the rules and got caught. And so they said, okay, you and she stay in this house. You can't go anywhere. He can go out to work. She has to stay in the house. She can't talk to anybody. But that's pretty raw. But that was the rules. And so this is what's called the prison house because they lived in this house. It's there. You can go drive past it on Woodard Road. I included, there are trees there, but I included the trees because they sort of suggested prison bars. At least they did to me. I got very involved in the Erie Canal project, which is 200 years old this year. And so I painted a bunch of paintings in different places. This is, there are others, but I grabbed this one. This is the Upside Down Bridge in Lockport. Yeah. You can take a little tourist ride on the boat up into the locks and back, but that's what this is. So that's a local one, another local one. This is in Dunfermline, I guess, Scotland. It's the Benedictine Abbey ruins. Ruins, I think, are fascinating, and so I paint them whenever I get a chance. You can come up and take a look at these if you want later. And the last thing I want to point out is books. We lived, my wife and I live here for 18 years now, I think. If you talk to her a little bit, you'll find out that she talks a little bit like downstate. It's an old joke. Yes. Anyway, we lived on Long Island, and it's a beautiful place. We would probably still be there, except, as I said to Paulette earlier, our son went to UB Law School, and he and his wife live here, and they invited us to come and live next door to them. And so we built a house attached to them. They bought a big piece of property. And before we came here, as I say, we lived on Long Island. And the North Fork, if you don't know anything about Long Island, the east end of Long Island has two forks, the North and the South Fork. I love the North Fork. It reminds me a lot of the farms and farming areas here. The North Fork it's much more agrarian. There are vineyards now where there used to be potato farms. The same thing that killed the potatoes in Ireland, the golden nematode, killed a lot of the potato fields on Long Island. And at the end of the Second World War, when the potato fields were gone, they had all these empty spaces. The GIs are coming back in, and they needed a place to build. And so Levitt came in and built Levittown on these empty fields. So anyway, we now there's all this space. We moved. I don't like the South Fork. It's just the South Fork is really not me. It's the Hamptons. It's a lot of money. That's fine. People have their money, but I don't. So we gravitated to the North Fork, and I was painting there every place. And my wife said to me at one point, "You know, you've got all these paintings. Can you do a book?" And I thought, a book? Well, I could try. So I did. And that's a book that's called, this one, Wandering the North Fork. This was kind of interesting too, because there's a painting here. People would come along. We went to an art festival. You can look at these books. And I remember a lady came along and looked at that. Oh, that's Uncle Harry's. That's where they used to kill the pigs. So there are lots of things in here. This is the witch's hat. It's I'm not even sure what it was built for, but it's there. It's there today. There were lots of, I think, things that I found interesting. If my eye caught them, I would paint them, and I had all these paintings, and ultimately I turned them into this book. And then my wife says, you know, you got a lot of paintings left over. You could do another book. That's a lot of work. But here's the result of that. This is called Seasons on the North Fork. If you know anything about the North Fork, this will remind you about them. All right, so that's my introduction. Can I say anything? Can I tell you anything before I start to paint? Anybody? Come on, dumb questions, anything. Yes? No, no. For, I think it was 6 years, COVID stopped it, but I was invited to join a group that called themselves the All-Weather Gang. And they were based in Leroy. Some came from Batavia, some came from Rochester or that area. I came from Elma, and I would go and meet them in Leroy, and we would have breakfast every Saturday morning, all year round. It didn't matter what the weather was. And you learn how to adapt. So I learned how to dress warm. I have a little bottle about this big in here that I used to put moonshine in that I could mix with my paints. And I've looked into how other people painted in Antarctica or places like that. So sometimes it was difficult. It was always a good time. I remember painting a barn. This is Kath. I'm sorry. This is the same old joke. Every week I would come back and my wife would say, well, what did you do? Let me see. And I'd show her and she'd say, oh, lovely, another barn. It's true. It's true. So I did paint barns, and sometimes there were funny things that happened with barns. I remember, does this make too much noise? If I touch this, I'm not thinking about it. Anyway, I remember painting a barn and a cow. Cows are really curious animals. A cow came along and stood by the edge of the fence watching me. It was raining. I had an umbrella. The cow watched and watched until I folded up the umbrella. Then the cow turned and went away. But cows are pretty handy, because another time, I can't remember, I think it was 20 degrees outside. This stuff freezes and it's cold on your hands. Hunters have these heat packs that you put in your gloves or in your feet. And so I would use those. And this one time there was a farmer where we had painted already. He was pretty enthused about having these crazy people come in and paint on his property. And I said to him, can we paint here today? He said, yeah. It was really cold. It was bright sunshine, but it was really cold. And he said, yeah. He said, what are you going to paint? I said, I don't know. So I really don't know. I often start out without really knowing what it is I'm going to paint, because these scenes, all of them, just grab me at the time. So I said to him, well, I'll paint in the barn. Really? So I went into the barn. In case you don't know it, cows are warm. So the cows made the inside 50 degrees instead of 20. It was a lot easier. I painted, one other guy and I went into the barn. I thought it was funny because he had a jacket on. He was painting in oils, and he would look at the cows and then he'd paint like this. He was kind of had his back to the cows. After a while, he realized the cows were licking the back of his coat. It took him a month to get rid of the cow smell. Anyway, okay, so that's it. So that's, I should tell you about this. This is called a cookie box. It's a terrific tool. It's a plastic briefcase. It was built by a guy named John Cook, who I believe is dead now, because I don't think you can get this anymore. I'm very glad I got it. But it has these now it's not doing what it's supposed to. Okay. The brushes can't come out when this is flipped. And then it's got this little lever back here that keeps it from doing that, so you can take the brushes out. This is a pretty standard, if you know anything about watercolor. This is a John Pike palette, which has, I think, 20. In the bottom, it has compartments that you can put other stuff in, brushes or towels or whatever you want. And I think this is a pretty interesting innovation. I'm sorry that it's kind of blocking some of you, but I'll put this here. Maybe you can put this over there.
Is that what you carry when you travel?
No, that's a very good question. because if you know, I'm sure if you travel, you know that they throw your stuff around. And this has been dinged a couple of times. So I have a backpack with a little watercolor flip pad. So I think it's like anything else in life. If you do something and you like to do it, eventually you figure out how to do it better, how to improve on it. And that's the improvement. So this is just water for spraying. I think I have the brushes that I need, so I'm going to put this case over here. And I think it's time for me to start. I have a time? Yes. The brand varies a lot. I have a book on watercolor painting. I have a bunch of books. And this one book, I went through it. People often say to artists, so what's your palette? What colors do you use? I have to read it. I can't tell you. They're written on the outside. But I've realized a long time ago that you could take Winsor & Newton or Smecke or any, there's lots of them out there. They're all pretty much the same. Winsor & Newton is very high end. There's a lot more pigment in the paint. But this book said to me, they're really not so much different. So I take whatever I can find. I maybe have one or two Winsor & Newton colors, but I'm not wedded to that. The paper that I use, this is Arches. I also, when I travel, I don't take Arches paper with me. I will take a 9x12 Strathmore 400 series. That seems to work quite well. That may be one of those. That's just, you know, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So, sure. So what I'm going to do is start this. If I get paint on the tabletop, it's watercolor. It comes off. Paulette, I didn't ask you this before, but time, you need to tell me about time. And do I have a limit or do you have a break? You have a break so people can get up and move their backsides?
Well, if you want a break, you can let us know.
Okay. Okay. I would try to finish by 8:30. Right? Okay. Good. Sure. Sure. And I have to sometimes these events can be intimidating for people, but I have to assure you, we are not in church. You can talk. You can ask any questions. I'm happy to answer anything I can. And if I can't, my wife will. So. I love to tease her. She's a great wife, I got to tell you. All right, so.
Do you always pre-sketch?
It's not stretched.
Sketch.
Sketch.
Yeah, do you always pre-pencil?
I did that. No, I don't.
So you don't usually?
No, I don't usually. I did this tonight because I thought it'd take me a while to do this, and I'm using up time that I could take care of at home.
Okay.
So
when you normally paint, you don't pre-sketch it out, you just go for
no,
it?
no, I do. But this is more elaborate.
Okay.
This is a travel painting. This is
So your reference.
yes. If you go to your library, this is from the Elma Library. 25 cents gets you a color print. Pretty good deal. And I guess the other libraries in the system do it the same way, Erie County. This is a painting, a photograph from San Luis Obispo. It was another trip we took. One of our daughters lives in California, and we visited and then we drove around. there are a lot of mission places. Capistrano, I painted a couple of times at Capistrano. And there are busloads of people that come there. School kids come to tell them the history of the place. So anyway, I loved the color here. You can't really see this, although you can come look at it, but I love the color, and that was what attracted me. The mountains are faded bluish in the background. The colors, the vines growing under the arbor. It's classic mission style. Anyway, I was impressed by it. So first, I'm wetting the paper.
So you're only writing where you're gonna paint.
Yeah, yeah. This is what I'm wetting first is the sky, which is the lightest. The way I paint, other people paint differently, but most people paint light to dark because you can paint dark over the light. So that's what I'm doing.
Do you do multiple coats?
Sometimes. I did not bring a hairdryer. Usually when you're painting outdoors, it dries pretty fast in the sun. And you need to be careful. That's an advantage and a disadvantage. It just depends on how you work. The sky is quite light here. The mountain in the background is stronger, and I don't want the sky to take away from it. So this will dry in a little while. Some people like to tape down their watercolor paper. I don't. I'm really not a very patient person, right, Kath? And I find that the extra time it takes to tape things down, I could be painting. So, and I seem to be able to do that, so I'm okay. Sorry?
The paintbrush. Big fat.
I can't, I know, I can't tell you.
It's a good one.
It's a 14. No, it's a 24. And it's a Richard Professional. when you paint, this is wet on wet. When you paint this way, I think there is some terrific, I'm going to have to go back and sharpen this edge here when it dries a little bit. But it softens things.
So with your paints in there, do you use the liquid paint, liquid watercolor, and just squirt it in there?
No,
So
no.
how do you get your paint
How do I get the paint?
in that?
I have tubes of paint.
Right, that's what I mean. You squirt it.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And then it dries,
Right.
and I squirt the mist on it, and that softens it.
Sorry if I'm
No, 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 no. You're the only one asking questions, so the only one I have to answer.
Oh, keep going then. What color is it?
I have to look.
Page
It's not. I think it's Windsor blue.
When you paint outside,
Mm-hmm. I did.
do you come back inside and do finer details?
Yes.
Do you take a
Yes.
picture that you?
I do take a picture because sometimes that makes a difference. I have been asked to participate in a program at the Brothers of Mercy, their Montalbor Heights building, where there will be in May three dates where invited artists will come and paint four residents who volunteer. And so we get paid, which is unusual. Usually you pay for a model. This time the place is paying the artists. But we'll see how the portraits come out. It's a portrait project, and I'm anxious to see how that works. I'm going to try. See. This would be portraits, yeah. I do.
Like landscape.
I do, yeah, yeah. Because landscapes don't move. Cows even move, but I managed to get most of the cows down okay.
So you don't clean your palette. It just,
I did clean my palette this afternoon. I never do. And I always use what I call yesterday's paint, you know? So this is pretty clean. You can almost see yourself in it.
but the paint around the edges remains.
Yes, yeah. I really enjoyed the time with the all-weather gang because I love being outdoors. I used to do a lot of backpacking, and I like being out there. I like nature. I love it. It almost doesn't matter in all kinds of weather. All kinds of weather. It's starting to dry.
So when you first come up to an area that you want to paint,
Uh-huh.
sit there and study it, and then you sketch it, then you commence it.
Yes. I came to realize a long time ago that, and you'll know this if you look at the examples of famous artists, if you study the subject that they've painted, it's not really extraordinary usually. You know, Monet painted flowers. You know, but it's the way he did it. So I don't worry too much. I do some about what subject I'm painting. But I believe strongly that you can find beauty in anything. Whatever you decide to paint, you could make it, it's up to you. I like to say that you don't have to sit in front of the Grand Canyon to make a terrific painting. You know, you could do flowers in your backyard. Or I taught classes where, that would be hard. I taught classes where I would bring something in to the classroom. And sometimes it was old boots or books, or you can just, doesn't have to be anything.
How do you not get the thing buckle up?
Well, it's
Right. So you get like a home for a,
it will flatten out. And what you can do, if it's not, because there's often some ripples in it. So when it's totally dry, 2 days later or whatever, I turn it upside down and I spray it and put some weight on it, and it flattens it right out. No. No. Well, yeah, I'm painting to the edge. You don't need to do that. Some people don't. But that would go inside a frame that covered up, I don't know, 1/4 inch or, yeah, yeah.
Do you have a favorite painter? Yours.
Yeah, I do like Monet. No, I don't think so. I have to tell you, I hinted at this earlier. I have some of these Strathmore pads, these 9x12 pads. I probably have 15 or 30 of them. I have a stack of Arches paper that's probably paintings, probably that thick. I have paintings in racks that I built in the basement, frame paintings. I had a show, a solo show at the Buffalo Botanical Garden this past year. And the woman said to me, well, do you have enough paintings? And I said, if you told me tomorrow that I have to bring another set in, I could do that. Sometimes I had a printmaking machine. No, I save them. I save everything, and I scan everything.
So you scan the original, but then you sell the original.
Yeah,
You have a scan.
I used to have a scanner. I have a scanner where I can scan the paintings, and I used to have a big printer where I could print 17 by 20. And I realized it was $96 for a cartridge, an ink cartridge, a piece, and you need 6 of them. So I thought, I'm not selling enough of these. So I donated to the Buffalo Arts and Technology. It's a school, and they were happy to get it because they would use it more than me. Let me get to this blue. Not dark enough. I'll go back on it. I think it, no, I don't. It depends, yes. Yeah.
Paint small paintings. I noticed most of your paintings are like, problem by.
Yeah. I have done bigger, but to go back to my impatience, I want to do more.
Right.
And I used to do a bunch of large paintings, and then you pay to get them framed and all that sort of stuff, and I didn't sell enough of them that I thought the smaller sizes I can do faster. It gets rid of that urge that I have, and so that's why I use smaller ones. This is a quarter sheet. Watercolor paper, if you don't know this, comes in 22 by 30 or 32, I forget, whatever it is, and that's in 250-pound paper. That means that the size, if you had a stack of 100 pieces of it, that size would be 250 pounds. And then you cut it in quarters or in half. This is a quarter sheet. Don't forget this. Usually, yeah. I have a bunch of this, so I do. If I travel, I take a pad. No. It goes in spurts. I know that if I have to have a show someplace, which doesn't happen all the time, but I know I need to paint for that. I also paint, I didn't say this before, but I have a page on Facebook. And every Thursday night tonight, I post another painting on Facebook. So if you look at Killeleart in Facebook, that will take you to see every week is a new painting. So at least I paint at least one a week.
I follow you on Facebook.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, tell me your name.
I'm Kim O'Sullivan.
Oh, that's a good name.
Did you paint a whole painting?
Yes, yes. And if we are not in the area, if we're traveling, or Kathy's brother has a house in Tucson, and for the last 13 years, I think it was, we've gone to spend February in Tucson. I love Tucson. I wouldn't want to live there, but I love to be there. It's just, there's a crustiness and a beauty to it that just gets to me. The Old West.
You know, the watercolor covers that.
Mm. You work with what you got. I don't sit it. I would sooner sit it with it on my lap. But this is what here, and as I said, you work with what you got. I asked Paulette if they had a chair that was taller than one of these. It didn't occur to me that I could probably just push this out of the way. But it's got table space that counts. Sure.
I ask a non-related question?
Sure.
Since you've been vacationing, what places do you move out that you enjoy most?
I can't answer that. That's a real good question, and I can't answer it. I could tell you which I enjoyed least. That was Russia. The people in Russia don't smile. They scowl. If you look at them, they'll look away. I think there are interesting things there, but
What brought you in Russia?
a tour. We have literally been on every continent except Antarctica. This is over a long time. And we talk about that all the time. We're so fortunate to have been able to do these things. I can't think of some place that I want to go to that I haven't been to.
No place that stands out as a favorite for you.
Been, in the Navy, I was in the Sixth Fleet, and I was in almost every major Mediterranean port. A lot of Italy, France, Spain, Greece, Beirut. And I thought there was so many nice, I thought that Venice was such a really interesting, cool place. I need to come back here with somebody that's special for me. And so we did.
And they're
It's really neat. Yeah, yeah. I can't, South America. This is a silly story, but we have taken each one of our grandchildren to go wherever they wanted to go in the world in 10 days or 2 weeks. It kind of eliminates China. It's too long to get there. But one of our granddaughters, decided she wanted to go to a Spanish-speaking place. And so she decided to go to Chile and Argentina, which we did. And Chile is the long, skinny spaghetti one. When you go from there into Argentina, over the mountains, in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of no place, is a Studebaker Museum. Honest to God. Yeah, it was just Studebaker made a lot of trucks for the Army in the Second World War, but they had cars, models of all kinds of stuff. And I thought, what the hell is this doing here? Interesting place.
Is that a photo or a painting?
This is a photo. This is a painting.
You got set up on that.
I can't see that far. I know you're painting. I couldn't tell.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Thank you.
That was pretty good. I got it. Sometimes that picture is good.
Yes. Congrats on the times when they do.
I know, right?
Yep. Oh, fine. Yeah, there is. I thought to myself about this, I really like the look in this painting, and I suspect I will not finish it here. But,
If you're refined there.
yeah, well,
It's kind of in between.
yes, yeah.
Some of them are loose and some of them
I would like to be looser.
are hard.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Try.
right. Keep trying,
It's like,
keep trying.
oh, I can't do
Yes, yes,
And I come from the graphic background and everything is always precise and tight.
yes, right. Well, that's my instinct, and I try to change that to something looser because it's fresher. And some of it, I've caught it sometimes, but sometimes I think if it's a portrait or a house or something, if a commission for a house, it's like a portrait. It's got to be exact.
you use a ruler ever?
No, I have In the back, behind the flip part, I have a piece of cardboard, which is square, and I can use that to,
That's close.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
Like when you go to do the roof.
yes, exactly, or a horizon line, yeah.
Do you know when the painting is done? And you leave it
That's
alone,
an
or do you
old question, and the answer is I don't,
get a feeling?
you have to stop.
That's why I'm asking, because I know people are constantly like.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I put it aside, and maybe 2 days later or a day later, I go back and I say, that needs to be darker, or that needs to be brighter, or you make changes. Yes.
The city hall.
I was thinking about another funny story. I was painting Buffalo City Hall, the top, and I was working from photographs because I wanted that to be exact. It's very pretty. The terracotta tiles at the top are just really impressive. And so I was looking at it from Niagara Street, or one of those streets, and a guy came along and he said, "What are you doing?" So I said, "Well, I'm painting City Hall." Really? Yes, the building.
Yeah, from way back here, buddy.
Yeah. I have a very long pole.
Very long.
I have to tell you a really funny story from India. We went to India, a very interesting place. I'm not sure that I would want to go back, but it's very colorful. Uh, there's some very positive things and some less than positive things, but the traffic is insane. It is just crazed. And so I thought, I want to paint something that suggests that. And so we were in a hotel. This is a tour. I wouldn't go to India without a tour. And I went to the guards. There were armed guards with gates to get in and out of this place. Caucasian, so yeah, sure, whatever you want. So I walked out. The hawkers, the hackers, the people who were there are on you every tourist place there is. They're just there. And I did not like that part at all. But I realized that if you walked away from whatever the tourist attraction is, there's nobody there. No hawkers. And so I walked, I don't know, a half mile or a mile away from this hotel, and I found there was a fountain, and I sat on the steps of the fountain because the traffic zoomed around in a kind of an S turn. And I thought, okay, that's cool. So I painted this, and after a while, this just happens. This is what happens to artists. In short order, there were people looking over my shoulder, which was fine. I don't have any problem with that. And the other thing that I wasn't counting on is that in India, the cows are sacred. Well, this cow comes along. This drooly cow comes along, and he's looking over my painting. So there's some giggles from the crowd behind me. And this guy, sort of in the front, he goes, "Woof!" And the cow goes away. After about 20 minutes, the cow came back, still drooling. So in short order, the guy, woof, chases him away again. He came back, honest to God, a third time. And the guy says to me, "Sir, the cow appreciates your painting." I guess he did.
paintings in the book are prints of paintings.
Yes, all these, yes. Yeah. $20.
Who is your publisher?
Me.
Self-published?
Yes, yes. I was working at the time for the largest producer of annual reports in the country. They're on Long Island. They're a company called Curran and Connors. And I learned a lot about production while I was there. I mean, I was an artist and I didn't get to use my art so much there, but I did learn about production. And I worked with a printer, a particular printer they worked with a lot because he was very good and very careful. And I worked with him and his company printed this. The first book has a texture to the stock. They don't make that anymore.
Is it coated paper?
No, I don't think so. No. Anyway, he said to me, I'm sure that they did coat it. I'm sure they put I can't remember what you call it, a coating on it, an extra run through the press. Anyway, he worked with me on this because the texture, the watercolory texture on the one book, it absorbs the paint. And so he figured out a way that they could leave the paint the colors could be keep some of their intensity. So I was very grateful to work with him on that.
A little slow, but I get there eventually.
It's okay, fine with me. This is California, so there's lots of palm trees and stuff like that. It was probably 3/4 of an hour. In high school, when you graduate from high school, everybody in the class gets something. The prettiest girl, the most successful athlete, most likely to succeed in business. I was the most talented boy in my class. And I didn't paint, we have 3 great kids. It was a time you invest a lot of time in family. And so that takes away from other things. But when I went in the Navy, I thought, I could probably paint here. Another funny story. The captain of the ship, I worked in the Air Intelligence Office doing briefing graphics for the Admiral. And the captain found out there was this artist. My ship, the aircraft carrier, the Forrestal, has about 5,000 people on it. With the air squadrons, there are 6 or so different kinds of planes, and bombers and fighters and assaults and stuff like that. And so that's 5,000. The captain finds out that I'm an artist. And so he calls me up. And I cannot explain to you where this smart ass comment came from, but he says to me, I want you to paint a picture of my ship. I was 22. And I said, I didn't think about it. It just came out. I said, begging your pardon, sir, but I don't think you can command me to create something. And he kind of, on a ship, any ship, the captain is God. Captain. So he stopped and he said, well, do you think you could? And I said, I certainly could try, but I don't have any equipment. Get him what he wants. So they sent somebody into our port, was Norfolk, to an art store, and the guy got me a wooden box with oil paints in it, brushes. Okay, I said, well, that's fine. I said, but I don't have any reference. Get him a helicopter. So he sent me up. This is true, is it not? So he sent me up in a helicopter, and I said, okay, go forward a little bit, go a little bit lower, and I'm taking pictures. And I did a painting from those pictures. He was very pleased with it. And when it was finished, he says they had changed the radar. And he wanted to know, could I change the radar? And I thought, I blew a little smoke at him. I said, well, that would confuse it a little bit. He finally bought that and said, okay, leave it alone. So I did other things. I did publicity packets for visitors that came aboard the ship. It was in the Mediterranean. They had a lot of NATO people would come on, and they give them one of these stacks of information. And my picture was my painting was on the front. I did a lot of stuff like that, and it was a pretty good experience. I contacted him years after. He got to be an admiral. Usually captains of aircraft carriers, after a tour, they get to be an admiral if they've done the job. The Navy isn't always kind. My ship, I finished in 66. I get off active duty. And the day the ship went in the yards, this is way more than you need to know. The day that I got off was the day the ship went in the yards to refit to go to Vietnam. It went to Vietnam 15 months later. It was there 5 days, and there was a horrendous accident where, you see this picture of this plane here, but a missile went off under the wing of one plane on one side of the ship, went through the tail of John McCain's plane on the other side of the ship, and set it on fire. McCain got out, but the fact was they had, I'm not sure why I'm telling you all this stuff. There were bombs on the ship that had been loaded the day before from a munitions ship that pulled alongside, and they transferred all these bombs. The bombs had been in storage outdoors in the Philippines since the Second World War, and there was a lot of rust. So the ordnance officer complained that I don't want to take these, they're not stable. Take them, you're going to get rid of them. They're bombing a lot. So the ship was loaded with these bombs, which were under the wings of these planes. And when the missile went through McCain's plane and started a fire, the gasoline went all over the flight deck, and the bombs began to blow up. So there were 139 people killed. I'm eternally grateful that I was not there then. The office that I worked in was in one deck under the flight deck, so it would not have been a good place to be, but life is what it is, and I feel like chance has so much to do with life. You're in the right place at the right time, the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in a decent place, so. Am I telling too many stories? Okay. Kath, am I telling too many stories? Am I telling too many stories? Well, I didn't get hurt. People who got hurt, I think PTSD is a big deal. I don't have any of that. Very fortunate. Oh, yes, absolutely. When I was in high school, I remember drawing pictures of sailors. I wanted to go to sea. At that time, men got drafted. And I got my draft notice, and I went for my pre-induction physical downtown Manhattan, and I was going to go in the Army. I didn't care. Vietnam was not really a big deal then. And I thought, it'd be cool to be outside camping and that sort of stuff. And there was a Navy lieutenant commander who lived across the street from us. And I don't remember how he found out that I had gotten my draft notice, but he said, you know, you don't have to go in the Army. Career military people are called lifers. He was absolutely a lifer. Okay, all right. So that's fine. It's not me, but I get that. If you like that, that's a good thing. So he said you could join the Navy. Floyd Bennett Field was in Brooklyn, not so far away from where I was. And he said, you could join up at Floyd Bennett. My brother was already in. He quit high school and he went in the Navy. And I found out that if you ask, I think this is still true, if you ask to be assigned to a relative, with a relative, as long as it's not in a combat zone, you can do that. So I joined the Navy. I went to boot camp. And when I get out of boot camp, they offer you an assignment that you don't have to take. And they assigned me to be part of the National Honor Guard in Washington. And I thought, Washington, that's pretty cool. There's a lot of girls there. That's all right. But I thought to myself, I really wanted to go to sea. I wanted to see the ocean. I wanted to see the world. And, the further away I get from that, the better it seems. But it was, I think, a good experience. I think it's an experience every person, men and women, should have, because it assigns them, assigns is the wrong word, it teaches them the value of what this country is. I'm not a conservative person, but I absolutely love my country. And that was good. Sorry? You're welcome. Thank you. It's not like I had a choice. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, I had this one brother who was there ahead of me. My brother Bud. I'm gonna repeat that story. No, he doesn't know that I'm gonna repeat it. Would you take Kathy outside for a minute? So my brother, who was there before me, he worked on the flight deck. He worked on the catapults. If the catapults don't work, I hope you enjoy the painting as much as in my stories. Jeez. So the catapults, if they don't work, it's like a battleship without guns. The catapults launch aircraft. And if you can't launch aircraft, what are you there for? You're no good. So they have to fix them. His job was, if you look on pictures of an aircraft carrier, the planes line up on the catapults and panels come up behind them. They are called JBD, or jet blast deflector panels. The jet exhaust bounces off, so it won't knock people over from who are behind. So anyway, the catapults that he worked on were broken down. And so they said, okay, you guys, you're going to be here all night, but stay there until it's fixed. So he was there in the catapult division with the other people. And comes the morning, and the petty officer says, okay, you guys secure, you go below. Killelea, you stay here and clean up. What? He says, F you. So the petty officer says, oh, really? Let's go tell the captain about that. So he goes to see the captain, and the captain says, well, I think you need to spend a couple of days in the Forrestal Hilton. So they put him in the brig for 3 days on bread and water. He gained some weight. And there is on a ship, on any Navy ship, there are Marines. And if there's a brig, a jail on the ship, and there is on a big ship like that, the Marines are the guards in the prison. So they're called chasers, brig chasers. And they march the prisoners to the mess hall. And when they come along, the lead prisoner in line says, gangway, prisoner. Everybody's got to get out of the way. So anyway, so he spent part of his time there. When in the compartment, in the brig, if a chaser comes into the compartment, you have to jump to attention. It's demanding, very demanding. So he's brushing his teeth, and the chaser comes in, and he jumps to command, jumps up, there's a metal shelf above his head. He bangs his head, and he rolls on the floor. And he's, oh, I want to see the chaplain. So the Marine had some unkind things to say about this maggot on the floor. Get up, get up, get up. Oh, I want to see it. Oh, he goes and he gets the sergeant. And the sergeant comes back, get up, sailor. I want to see the chaplain. So the sergeant goes and gets the lieutenant. And the lieutenant says in a much kinder voice, what seems to be the problem, sailor? And so Bud says, he's more of a smart ass than me, honest to God. He says, begging your pardon, sir, but I don't think it's anybody's business if I want to go to confession. He did. That's the Bud story. No more, she's telling me. When I first went on the ship, my brother took me around because he'd been there for a while. And he introduced me to people. So he introduced me to one guy that he worked with. And the guy says, oh no, not another one. So I said, I'm me, he's him. He did have a reputation. People loved him or hated him. I loved him. Yes. When he got out of the Navy, he didn't know what to do. I mean, he was a kid. So he went to work for Pan-Am, working on airplanes. And he did that for a while. And then I think he worked at a gas station for a while. Anyway, he decided ultimately he went into the New York State Police for 39 years. He finally retired, and I don't think he would have retired, but when 9/11 happened, they got a lot of overtime. Civil service employees' retirement money amount is based on how much overtime you did in the last 3 years. So he worked, as they all did, he worked a lot of overtime at 9/11 at the World Trade Center. And so he got to a certain point. After that 3 years, if you stay, your amount goes down. So people don't want to stay. So he left. He could have stayed. I'm sure he would have stayed. He could have 45 years or something. Anyway, he got out. I think he worked not Habitat. What is the not food for the poor, the food distributors? What am I thinking of? You drive food to houses, to people. Meals on Wheels, thank you. Yes. So, he's not, he did. He was, people would call him a goofball, or me too. But he was, I think he had a good life. He's got a superb wife, just a wonderful, wonderful, somebody who comes in the room and it lights up, one of those kind of people. Yes, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of detail here on the bottom. There's an arbor there. Mission churches always had arbors, grapes, make wine, and and that's all in there. But you were asking me before. Did you ask me about painting in detail, or somebody did? And I would paint in detail, but I would fix that tree. I would fix this a little bit here. And you don't know this, but I'm going to paint my wife into this. You had a blue jacket on, and I thought the blue would go very nice here. So anyway.
Now, what is that? That you're painting?
This, I forget what you call it. It's yeah, there's a name for it. I don't remember what it is. Obviously, I've had it for a long time. No, no, it's not heavy at all. Yes, it's quite sturdy.
It's like a fiberglass almost.
Not fiberglass. It's like foam core.
Oh,
But this is, I don't know what foam core is made of, but that's what it is in the middle here. And the surface here is waterproof. So I'm not the only one. This is not an original thing here. A needle? Easel. No, I don't. I normally would sit in a chair like that with a pad, a 9x12 pad maybe, or this, and paint what's in front of me. Yeah. 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 Some people, I don't like to stand. I'm getting too old. Kills my back if I have to stand. There are.
You know, a tabletop easel.
Yeah.
Or like a, you know, set up and sit down.
You could. I have easels. I just, whatever, it's whatever works. And this seems to work for me. I do. Upstairs, there's a room. I paint. Well, there's a computer there, so I can blow up pictures if I need to. I still paint in plein air, but I don't paint as much as I did. That period of time with the All Weather Gang was super because it forced you. There's always a problem when you paint outdoors. The bugs come, or the clouds come, or the rain, or the snow, or the cows, and you find ways to adapt to that. And so I found it's a terrific learning experience. I really think that plein air painting is the best because it forces you to make choices. You look at things and you say, "Oh, yeah, but I could move that over a little bit, and I could." It's a great educator, and for me, I just thought it was a tremendous experience. I was sorry when COVID came along. A couple of the guys, one was 97, another was 92. There were a couple. I guess I was in my late 70s at the time, and I wasn't. I think there was one guy younger. But there were people who'd been doing this for years. Just painting with them, you see things, you learn things from painting with other people. It's a tremendous experience, and some people hate it because there's too much stuff. I don't know what to do. Okay, well, take something. Look at that piece of it there. You don't have to paint the whole thing. I go back to my Grand Canyon. You don't need a Grand Canyon thing. You could take a point, rocks, or when I go to Tucson, I have painted and painted and painted there in the desert. You can do just some cactus, or you can do a grand scene, but you can paint flowers or all kinds of things. You don't have to paint all. You do pieces of it. So,
You ever paint anything out of the top of your head? Or do you always have to have a reference?
no, if I'm doing plein air, I don't need a reference. I paint what's there.
No, I'm talking about, like if you're in your studio.
Yeah.
And you just, on a piece of paper, not looking at anything, paint.
I don't do that. It's not me. I really taken, as you can see, I'm taken with nature. And so I have a couple of paintings of here, this area. One is a farm close to me that we'll post tonight at 8:30. You can see it in a half hour. It's a painting of a farm. I haven't painted a lot of barns recently, but there's a part of a field that was sunflowers. There's not a lot of people who grow sunflowers. It's a harvestable crop. Sorry?
The deer eat them all.
Well, apparently the deer didn't. Yes, that's true, but they didn't eat all this. And what happens is that the sunflowers kind of go at the end of the season, and the snow comes, and there's like a snow cone on each one of these heads. So it's a field full of sunflowers with snow cones on them. I thought that was interesting. So I painted that from a photograph because it's on a busy highway. There's another painting of a farm also close to us on Aurora Street. What did you, Quinn's? Lions, the Lions farm. Big, gigantic barn. And there's a hay field next to it. Well, it's all covered with snow. I posted that one last week. I have painted people I know, or things that I know, people in the neighborhood. It's just, it's there. It's every place. It's all around you. Go for it. Just do it. I used to say, when I can remember when we lived on Long Island and I taught classes, I would say to the people in the class, only the first day, I would say, you know, there's a secret to painting watercolor. Everybody kind of nods. And I said, so if you want, I'll tell you the secret. Are you interested? Oh, yeah, it's a secret. But when I tell you, you won't have to be here. You can go home. Really? What's the secret? Pregnant pause. Just do it. Just do it. Paint. The more you paint, the better you'll get. And if you get cut off because of the COVID, don't give up. Just go back. Try it again. Just try it again. I look at paintings that I've done and say, oh God, that's just terrible. My wife, my sweet wife, says, that's beautiful. So just do it. That's that. If you take nothing else out of this night, just do it.
Actually, the woman said, where you set your gaze. So I think that's kind of the same.
Sure,
you know.
sure. Pick something. It doesn't have to be everything. Pick something. You can do that. Flower pots on steps. Yes, Sonny. Sure.
Mike and Kathy were over at the house one night for dinner. And somewhere in the evening, Mike turns and looks out of that window of the dining room. Now we're looking directly north. So the sun is coming from the left across the backyard. It's 800 feet to the far end. And I'm a mechanical person, so I hear an engine running goofy. That's but he made some comment about the sunlight. Nothing like the sunlight is just right now.
It was gorgeous. Just the light was superb.
So I knew there was something brewing. And a couple days later, he called me and he said, "You busy right now?" I gotta come over. So he comes over the house and to work on it. He says, "Put a hat on."
Just like the Admiral said to me.
Yeah,
Do this, do this.
do it. So I put my hat on and go out in the backyard. So right out in the backyard is, I put a bridge in over the last.
Built a bridge.
Pardon?
Built a bridge.
Built a bridge. And he said, walk out on the bridge. I walked out on the bridge and I look at him like, what am I supposed to do? By that time, he's digging in his sweatshirt. Out comes the camera.
Nothing exotic.
So one side of the bridge has got a railing about that high on the west side of the bridge. He said, lean over the edge. I grabbed the rail and I lean over the edge. Okay, I turn around and pull the camera. What are you gonna label it? Don't jump? So that was it. So I know the wheels are turning. Well, it was 5 days later. He comes to the house with his painting. Good gift. Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm so glad she brought you.
Yes.
Nice to see you, Leah.
You too. This is fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
husband's waiting for his dinner.
Okay. Don't make a man wait for dinner. Jeez.
91-year-old.
am I doing? Okay. I think I started in pastel in high school. I don't, I must have done oils. I have oils, I have pastels, I have charcoal, I have acrylics, I have watercolors. I just like the way the pigment flows here. So I, kind of stuck with it.
So it seems like you're pretty proficient at this. Is there? Is there anything that you still struggle with?
Time. There's never enough time. I see paintings. I wrote this as part of a presentation at one point, but I see paintings every time I turn my head. I look at the texture on that wall there. That could be a painting. And I don't have time to do all the paintings that I see.
Yeah.
I remember when we first moved here from Long Island 18 years ago, driving along on Route 86 and looking at scenery, and I thought, oh, geez, look at that. That just was making me crazy.
Well, in a way, though, that forces you to be selective, right? Kind of have to edit.
Well, you do, but you learn by painting in plein air, you learn to edit what you're doing with your eyes. You just see something and you say, "Ah, that would work, yeah, but that's a little better over there." And maybe it is, and maybe it isn't, but I just do it, and sometimes it works better than others.
Yeah.
But I think these are all pretty good. I like these.
Yeah, fair, right?
Not too bad. It's all right.
Do you think you can faster because you've had so much in their experience?
I am a fast painter. I know that. I don't know. I think like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. You figure out the shortcuts and you figure out what you can do that'll make it work better. So it's just practice. It's really just practice. This is my wife sitting in the chair. That's her hat.
I can see it. You guys want to get up and move around a little bit? I did finally think to turn on the lights in the lobby. I spend a lot of time here walking around in the dark, so I don't think about it. Some people get a little nervous over here when it's too dark, but I did turn the lights on. I think right now by appointment. But they're pretty, I mean, if you're not busy
favorite brushes?
No, I use this one and this one a lot because I think I sometimes take my glasses off because I don't want to get caught up in details. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
So like Monet.
I thought of that, yeah, yeah.
Look.
Look at that. It's just blobs of paint.
Just gotta put it in the right place.
Well, I just keep slapping them down.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
I used to tell the kids make an elephant nose. They should, you know, when you get a puddle or something, just put the elephant nose in there. You did say how long she's been painting.
No, I didn't ask her. I know she likes art. Thank you.
Amazing.
Say again?
Haven't fun yet.
I'm going.
Hey, greens. Look at all these pictures back there.
Oh, it's nature.
Yeah, okay.
That's really what it is.
Stonework.
Yeah, yeah. Well, although this is a, what am I looking at? There's a couple of, yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, and the tower over there.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you saying about the water buffalo here?
Well, instead of them becoming the attraction, I became the attraction. The locals who worked there, who were the tourist attraction, they abandoned that and they were watching me. Sure. Yeah. No, no, I don't. It might, but you could change it often.
Yeah.
There's more, but it seems to work all right because, you know, I'm using a lot of, I don't have a lot of light whites, so I can get away with it. If I need to paint some clear color, something pure, then I would change it. Sure.
This palette ever get cleaned off?
This afternoon. The answer generally is no. Let's see, is that? You're not in the way, Sonny. It's okay.
Is that painting going to be complete when you finally get down to the bottom of that paper? I don't know
No,
how far down you're going to paint.
well, I would paint to the bottom. There's stuff, you know, there's sidewalks here.
Okay, now I didn't look.
And I thought to myself, people always say they, you know, I always tell stories. People seem to like that. So I talk, I paint, I talk, I paint. This is my wife.
Where was that in Tucson?
In San Luis Obispo, in California.
Oh. Was that a park or just a?
No, this is the mission, one of the Spanish missions.
Okay.
And we went there to see it. And there's a couple of cars in the parking lot.
Is this a vineyard? Are there grapes?
There are. It's an arbor.
Okay.
The missions always grew their own. Gotta make wine.
Is that near where your daughter lives?
No, no, it's not at all. But I'd heard about this place, and I thought, one day we just went for a ride. and there were other places that we went to, and I liked the colors in this photograph.
So all the early issues are up and down.
Yes, yes, yeah. This working all right? Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. I'll stop. I just want to say one thing this painting is not finished. I'll send you a copy of it. So you conclude it. Otherwise, no, I just want to say thanks for coming. I'm always really, truly pleased to work in front of people who like watercolors, because we're kindred spirits. And every single presentation that you ever go to, you'll learn something from, something different each time. So I hope you learned some stuff from this one. How to tell bad jokes. That's always a good one. Whatever. You can tell stories about Bud. Okay. Anyway, thank you for being a great audience. Thank you.